Homeland Security Committee member, the good congressman from the state of Pennsylvania, Scott Perry. Congressman, still early,
Yes,
I grant you, but what do you make of this, that this couple was deeper in terror and more radicalized than anyone thought, certainly last week at this time?
Well, I think that's exactly what we're going to see, and I don't think there's really any surprise with that. And I think that we're going to see that their network is going to be larger maybe than just those two, right? It's hard to pull these things off all on your own, and certainly the process of being radicalized, I think it's somewhat difficult or improbable that you just completely do that on your own in a vacuum. If there's one other person involved, there's probably more other people involved, and we're going to see this, I think, more and more in Western civilizations as this ideology spreads around the globe, unfortunately.
You know, if you buy the argument that a lot of this was building up in 2012, 2013, that's obviously before ISIS itself got much footing, which leads me to think that they were being radicalized through other elements. Or just period anger. What do you make of that?
That's a great point, Neil. And the point to that is the president and many of us are saying ISIL, ISIS, Daesh, that this is the enemy. The enemy is this ideology, and it didn't start with ISIS or ISIL. It actually takes its genesis back before Al-Qaeda. And that's what Americans and Westerners need to realize is this is an ideology. It has the name of today. It had the name of Al-Qaeda yesterday. Maybe tomorrow it's more Boko Haram or the Khorasan group or whatever, but it's the ideology that we need to combat and we need to be focusing our attention on.
You know, do you ever get the feeling, Congressman, that whether it's James Comey at the FBI or Ash Carter at Defense, that they're more worried than they're letting on, or certainly more worried than their boss in the White House?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword. They're in a position where they know more than certainly most Americans and have probably greater cause to be concerned. But at the same time, they also know what we're doing about it, and they don't want to telegraph an air of panic. So they kind of have a double-edged sword there, where they're seeing the threat, they're seeing what we're doing about it, and they can't let their personal concerns be put in the way of that. They need to, we don't need to be panicking Americans, especially if we're generally speaking on the problem. The question is, are we really on the problem, or are we throwing more gasoline on this fire while we're saying we're putting it out? And I think that's a trust issue. The more that they say there's not a problem, and the more that these things happen, the less confident Americans will be.
Yeah, I just think you hit the nail on the head. The more people try to assure me to stay calm, the more rattled I get. But Congressman, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.